Hi, I'm Chris Jaran. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at MD Helicopters, based in Mesa, Arizona, and I'm speaking to you today from the show floor at the 2022 HAI Heli-Expo in Dallas, Texas. I'm standing in front of one of our products we delivered recently, and that's a 530F, MD 530F, that we took and modified from a MD 500E, and that's one of the projects we have ongoing in our business. Over the last several years, we've had a very interesting time. We have gone through the process of the resignation of our CEO, and we have reorganized the company since that time. We've endured the COVID pandemic. As you're probably aware, it's very difficult for us to build helicopters from our garages, so we've had to continue operations in our facilities at our plant in Mesa to continue deliveries. And I should say, during the COVID year, we delivered just as many aircraft as we did the year before. So we've been quite successful in that. We do have work from home programs for our office staff, but our technical staff in the shops come into work every day and have. We've put in COVID protocols, masks, inoculations, all those kinds of things, but we've continued to produce aircraft. And most recently, last year, we endured the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan, and that brought to an end several years of manufacturing Cayuse Warriors, our military aircraft that we delivered into Afghanistan. We actually delivered 66 of those aircraft and had many more in the production line at the time of the pullout. So we have had to adapt from that position pretty rapidly. As you are well aware, that came quite quickly, that came to pass. So recently we've shifted much of our production to commercial aircraft. We've been very successful in commercial sales with a refocus on that, while we wait for additional international military sales to transpire. Unfortunately, those take quite a bit of time to go through the process, sometimes more than a year to get from initial request for aircraft to the final contract signing, and then a year more before we actually deliver the aircraft. So it's a time-consuming process, one we have to be very patient with, and now we are refocusing our efforts while we wait for those to happen on our commercial product line. I have about a dozen commercial single-engine aircraft on the production line right now. So we've been quite successful. We have a new sales team that we've put in place, and they are really winning with our customers. We've also spent a great deal of time and money on supporting those customers. Over the past 2 years, we've put $24 million of new spare parts on the shelves in our warehouse, right? Those are all going out to our operators to make sure that they continue flying and producing revenue for their businesses, right? We have, at the same time, spent internal research and development funds on a number of different projects to product improve our aircraft. Some things that have been sorely missing over the past decade, let's say. We're very close to finally certifying a brand new crash-resistant fuel system in our single-engine 530F, and we are in the midst of a project to produce a partner auxiliary fuel tank that's fully crash-resistant for that same product. I have on the show floor today a 500E that we've taken and installed what we call a slimline glass cockpit. Up until now, the 500Es haven't been delivered with anything but rather old-fashioned round dial, we call them boiler gauge kind of instruments. And if you come here and take a look at my new 500E, it has a stack of instruments, 2 flight instruments over 2 engine instruments, EFS systems, right? So that's brand new and is in the FAA for certification in the next 30 days. Some other projects that we're running that will be of interest is we're starting this year on a re-engineering program for our single-engine NOTAR, the 520N. We're going to upgrade the engine to give it more horsepower, better high altitude and hot day performance with an upgrade to the Rolls-Royce engine that's in it now. We're also in the process of developing an STC to put a brand new air conditioning system into our single-engine aircraft, right? So those kinds of things are all underway. We've had those going on even during the COVID year. We're getting close on the certification of the first couple of projects, and we'll be through the next couple this year. At the same time, we've reintroduced the 902 aircraft, our light twin engine offering. We built the first one last year, completed it, and it is flying for us now as a company demonstrator. And as a result of those demonstrations, we've taken the first order for a new 902 in many years, and that's on the production line right now for us. That one delivers in the third quarter of this year. So the 500 family started back in the 60s with the design by Hughes Helicopter of the OH-6, and that was a light observation aircraft in the Vietnam War days. And it has evolved over the course of time from the A model, B model, C model. We're at the F model now, and each one of those steps has been a step upgrade in the performance of the aircraft. You know, back in the original days, it was a four-bladed main rotor system on the aircraft, right? And now it's a five-bladed main rotor system. And in fact, on the aircraft that the U.S. Special Ops folks fly, the little birds, the MH and AH-6Is, it's a six-bladed main rotor system. Now that's a Boeing product, right? But we support them with parts and those sorts of things. So the aircraft, the single-engine aircraft, has really evolved quite substantially. And as I said, we're starting to do continuous product improvement on that aircraft system, right? It's glass cockpits. Last year we tested a brand new main rotor system. Right, we're looking at an upgrade to that will give us more lift, a bit faster speed in the aircraft, lower drag, all good things for helicopters. The main rotor blades that we're testing have a different airfoil section from the ones that we have been flying for many years. Right? They're a similar construction. They're still a metal blade that we're using, but with a more advanced airfoil that we're testing out. We had a lot of success. In fact, that company has just come back from acoustic testing for those blades. We believe that the blades are going to be quieter than what we have now, which is an advantage. Another very interesting project we have is we're funded by the U.S. government to do a full flight load survey on our 530F. Right? We've been building the aircraft for more than 20 years since the last time we measured the loads on the aircraft. So we are right in the middle of a year-long process. We fully instrumented a 530F, strain gauges, accelerometers, data acquisition system, right? When we fly twice every day with that aircraft to amass the data, something like 1,000 data points we're collecting to do a full data analysis to go back and reassess the component lives on the entire aircraft. So basically every component in the aircraft is instrumented, and we measure them every day now. That project runs through the end of September this year. We continue to produce all of the models of aircraft that people are familiar with. We produce 500Es, single engine. We produce 530F, single engine aircraft. We produce 520Ns, the single engine NOTAR, and the long light single, the 600 NOTAR, the 600N, we're still producing. And as I said, we're reintroducing the 902. So there's a lot of exciting things that are going on there. I think the last product that has really become more successful recently is we take a 500E aircraft that's been flying for a number of years, and we convert it into a 530F. Right? We do that process in about 90 days, so it's very quick for our customers. It's very economical. They end up with a fully capable 530F that's a higher performance aircraft at a much lower cost than buying a new aircraft. So we take these older aircraft, we refurbish them, we repair whatever damage has been done to them over the course of their lives, and we put a new engine, new main transmission, new tail drive shaft, new tail gearbox, new tail and main rotor blades in, and we often put a new glass cockpit in those aircraft at the same time. Right? I should say all of our aircraft now have some form of a glass cockpit in them, so we have come forward with that aspect of our business as well. We already are very popular with police forces in big metropolitan areas with our 520N NOTAR aircraft, right? That aircraft is allowed to fly in the Washington, D.C. area with Prince George's County police force because of the quiet aspect of the aircraft. We think these blades, these main rotor blades, are going to, again, reduce the main rotor noise significantly to what we're flying now. So that's a market advantage for us in many of those areas, right? Many of the police forces that fly us fly in urban areas, and they're very sensitive to noise, right? They're trying to keep the aircraft not objectionable to the local people. So that's a great project that we're running in cooperation with the main rotor blade manufacturers, right? And we're doing that in different places, right? We're doing cooperative efforts as well as just standalone projects in our engineering offices. We have a small but dedicated engineering force. Some of them actually go back to the Hughes aircraft days and came to Mesa, Arizona when the company moved from Culver City, California many years ago. Those are the guys who really know the product better than anyone else. They're the go-to guys for our young engineers. And we have a pretty constant flow of young engineers. On our light single engine aircraft, we primarily use a two-bladed tail rotor. The 500Es have a slightly smaller tail rotor than the 530Fs. Right? 530S has a slightly larger main rotor system, right? So we have a bit more performance. I think the most interesting things that we build are the no-TAR aircraft, the no-tail rotor aircraft, right? And we have both singles, and the only twin we make, the 902, has an anti-torque system that's a no-TAR, right? And that's basically a fan at the back of the fuselage that blows down a large diameter tube, the tail boom, and it ejects some air through two slots in the side of the tail boom to produce the Coanda effect in combination with the main rotor downwash, gives us some side force, creating an artificial airfoil, as well as a rotating cone in the back of the aircraft that we use with our tail rotor pedals to direct airflow from left to right, right? So we have a full tail rotor authority. It's just as much tail rotor authority as the conventional tail rotor aircraft. In fact, those aircraft, as I said, are really successful in quiet areas. I've been working very closely with London Air Ambulance, is flying two of our aircraft, right? And they're the only aircraft that's allowed to fly EMS missions in London because of the safety factor, right? There's no rotating tail rotor in the back, so the EMS technicians, the doctors and nurses don't have any danger back there, right? That aircraft, the 902, also has the added benefit of having a rear loading door, so they can slide litters in from the back of the aircraft, right? But in addition, London is a noise-sensitive area, and they fly those aircraft right into the downtown area of London to pull people out and take them to the local hospitals. So very successful there. In fact, in that local European area, there's more than 50 of those aircraft flying EMS missions today. The 900 was started some years ago, and we produced quite a number of those aircraft. The production line was stopped. I think we met the requirements, and it required a pretty substantial upgrade to renew life in the aircraft. And we are right in the midst of that project now, right? We have met with many suppliers to upgrade the bits and pieces of the aircraft to allow us to restart production. As you can imagine, it's a pretty substantial financial undertaking to start a new program like that. It's not the magnitude of a brand new clean sheet of paper design start, but it's still pretty significant. We're spooling up our suppliers for all the pieces of the aircraft. In fact, I met all day yesterday with several of them, just doing simple things like restarting the windscreen manufacturing, right? But I met yesterday with the folks who are going to produce our firewalls in that aircraft. So it's really down into the depths of the aircraft. It's not all the glamorous things that you think about when you're talking about helicopters. We really are down in the nuts and bolts of what we're doing to restart that production line. And part of that is meetings with the local avionics manufacturers here while we're at the show, talking about how we upgrade the cockpit. Right? So I think soup to nuts, nothing's off the table with that aircraft right now. For now, the two aircraft that I produced substantially reflect the current design, right? They're powered by Pratt & Whitney 207E engines, right? And we're going to continue to do that until we can get the upgrades into the aircraft. Our military single engine offering is the Cayuse Warrior, right? Very successful with that. It's very popular in the international military markets. It's an aircraft that's relatively simple to maintain, so we can keep them operational, very high readiness rate in excess of 90%, right? And that's really what a lot of our customers want. They want simple to maintain, simple to fly, and an effective fighting tool. So we use relatively simple weapon systems on it, right? The machine guns, Gatling guns, 50 caliber weapons, 2.75 rockets, right? Those are the kinds of weapons that we have. So it's a close-in fighter. It's not a long-distance kind of Apache aircraft. It's not really designed for that piece of the market, right? This is small, light, agile, and frankly starts every time you turn the key, right? That's really the market for that. We've gone from, again, round dials in the cockpit of that aircraft to a full glass cockpit, right? All of the recent ones that we've delivered for the past 3 years have had full glass cockpits. I'm just now building a demonstrator for that aircraft where we're going to go to the firing ranges and test new weapon systems. So we're developing new weapon systems for that aircraft. We're taking what's existing out in the field. We're working closely with some of the major weapons suppliers to do that, right? And we'll gradually upgrade that product and offer more and more capability. The single engine aircraft, say the biggest new market for us with that aircraft, the ones that we're selling the most of or delivering the most of is police, right? I have 3 aircraft for Huntington Beach Police Department on our production line right now, right? So it's a very popular model for that. And we have lots of equipment, STCs, configurations that support them. FLIRs and searchlights, and we actually built one with fast rope and exterior benches to fly SWAT teams on last year. So it's really got a long list of optional equipment that we can put on those aircraft. But the older 500s are, I think, more popular with utility operators. We put hooks on them and they fly sling loads. They do utility. They do live line, high power, high intensity power line repairs, right? Guys sitting on a bench outside the aircraft weaving new wires into the high voltage lines. So very popular with the utility guys. They actually use it to string new wires as well, right? So I think that's a real strong niche for us with the singles. So with our twin engine aircraft, I think is most popular with the EMS people, right? As I said before, it's a safe aircraft, low noise, able to operate in urban areas. It's got a nice sized cabin. It's just under 7,000 pounds, so it fits in a nice niche of the market, right? It's competitively priced and actually easy to fly. I've flown many hours in the 902 myself, right? It's really a nice, comfortable aircraft. In addition, if you get in the back of one and you fly as a passenger, it's remarkably quiet. The NOTAR not only makes it quiet on the outside of the aircraft, it makes it quiet on the inside of the aircraft. So, you know, I'm sitting in the back of a 902 and I'm having conversations without earphones or microphones, right? The 5-bladed rotor system is nice as well. It makes a nice, smooth ride. So it's really a really nice aircraft. We have a number of these in VIP configurations that are very popular for those kinds of reasons. Last year, we trained more than 200 pilots in our aircraft. We do both initial training that are transitions from other aircraft to ours, and we do recurrent training to brush people up on their capabilities. We have 7 pilots in our staff who do a lot of that training. They also are responsible for the initial flights for our certification of aircraft. We've also upgraded our maintenance facility, our maintenance training facility. We have 1 copy of each of our airframes in that facility. We have 2 engines in that facility, and we trained about 100 mechanics. Again, both initial training when they're buying a new aircraft, we do a transition from what they're used to training, what they're used to maintaining, and also recurrent. Many of our customers like to come back to the factory to get factory authorized training. So that's a going business, and we've really reinvigorated that portion of it. MD is pretty unique. We have a single campus. It's located in Mesa, Arizona, about 15 miles east of Phoenix, right? So it's in a major metropolitan area. It's a very nice place to live. And for us, significantly, virtually every day is a flying weather day, right? So if you come to our facility, there is always activity on the flight ramps, whether it's production aircraft or development aircraft. I have a full flight test organization that has 4 aircraft that they operate to test new components, right? Things I'm testing right now, a brand new horizontal tail on the 530, right? They're out flying today with that stuff. We have a completion center where we do the customization of aircraft for customers, and we have an independent ramp for that, and those fly every day as well. Then I have a fleet of training aircraft. I have 1 of every model that we have, and we fly training all the time. So it's really a buzz of activity all the time. It's really a lot of fun to be there when you're seeing, I work at a helicopter company, and the helicopters are flying every day. And part of the things we put in place is every employee gets a ride in our aircraft, right? So they can experience the products that they're working on, that they're designing, right? Every Friday we take up a bunch of people and they go for a nice hour-long ride, and they get to experience either a single or a twin-engine aircraft. so they get what the business is about, right? Our work staff is fairly small. We're lean, right? We have an engineering staff that does both the new product design, the modifications to existing products, and the support of more than 3,500 aircraft out in the field, right? We have a large fleet. We've been producing aircraft since the 60s, and we support those aircraft. So we have engineers who help design the repairs, the fixes, the modifications to aircraft in the field, right? We also have a large operations staff, the guys that actually build the aircraft, right? They're the largest number of people in the factory because those are the guys that make what we deliver.